Good afternoon, Falcon fans. Welcome to the Zig Zone, Falcon Media Sports Network sports radio show, talking you through everything going on in the world of Bowling Green athletics. I'm Ben Korak from the Falcon Media Sports Network. I'm joined today by Noah Seeley, and we're the only two in the studio today for our radio show. Noah, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it definitely is. A lot of sports going on. It's going to be a busy week for the Falcon Media Sports Network, especially considering how many sports we have going on. Volleyball, football coming up this hour, and then after the turn of the hour, we'll have hockey and both men's and women's basketball, and we'll talk a little bit about the non-revenue sports as well. But we're going to take a quick break momentarily for station identification. Don't go anywhere, because all the action is coming up next here on the Zig Zone on WBGU 88.1 FM.
The premier community theater of Bowling Green is the Black Swamp Players. For over 50 years, Black Swamp Players has been dedicated to the advancement of amateur theatrics, including production of live theater as well as various educational opportunities involving the arts. BSP is a nonprofit organization whose volunteer membership is open to any person regardless of age, religion, sexual orientation, or race. Visit blackswamplayers.org.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Back here in WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for the Falcon Media Sports Network and home of the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., the show that we're in right now. Myself, Ben Korak, Noah Seeley, here from the Falcon Media Sports Network, and we're going to begin our discussions today with volleyball. Very exciting last week for volleyball, Noah, a sweep of Buffalo on the road that took the team into the MAC tournament. It took the long way around getting there. They're still the sixth seed, but the team's in the tournament, and that's all you can ask from a Falcon team that's had a lot of adversity so far this year.
Yeah, without a doubt, had a lot of adversity, and it's really wouldn't have felt like the MAC tournament at the Stroh Center without BGSU in it. I feel like they kind of had to be in it for
Pretty
it to
much,
be
yeah.
here. So
yeah, the first year that they are instilling that it's going to be hosted by the team that won the regular season the year before. Bowling Green won the regular season last year, so they got to host the tournament this year. They were also favored in preseason polls to be both the regular season and tournament champion. Of course, the regular season was won by Ball State. They are an incredible team, and of course, the Falcons, dealing with some injuries through the middle of the season, was not able to play to their full potential. However, they are in the MAC tournament still, and they play number 3 Ohio this coming Friday. Before we talk about Ohio and the MAC tournament, which the Falcon Media Sports Network will be covering, we'll talk a little bit about the Buffalo games, because the 3-1 win in the first game for Bowling Green, and they had a lot of watching to do for Akron and Toledo and Miami when it came down, especially to the Saturday game that the Falcons ended up sweeping. So there was a situation where they won and didn't get in, but it was a very minute one, and the Falcons really took care of business and had to watch some other teams, but they still got in the tournament. So
yeah, and especially in those type of scenarios, not being able to completely control your own destiny, I'm sure that was a hard thing to try and go into that last 3 matches with, because you never knew what was going to happen. It wasn't just in your hands, so you kind of had to sit around and watch some other teams play and see what happened.
Yeah, Akron and Toledo. Akron actually, scarily swept the first game, if you're a Falcon fan. Not exactly what you wanted to see, because Akron did hold somewhat of a tiebreaker over you and were threatening to take a spot away, but ended up losing the second game to Toledo. So Toledo was able to work their way in. They are the number 4 seed. They play at number 5 seed Miami. Bowling Green the 6th seed plays the number 3 seed Ohio. Both of those games going on this Friday. Akron does not make the tournament, although they did play very well against Bowling Green. They took 2 weekends ago. They took a 3-set sweep of the Falcons on Friday, and then Bowling Green won in 5 sets on Saturday, and the Falcons won 3 in a row. Noah, looking into this Ohio game, Ohio's a team that Bowling Green beat earlier in the season in 4 sets. I believe that was their first game of MAC play, and that was we've talked a lot about injuries for this Bowling Green volleyball team, but that was a game that they played with Amanda Otten. They didn't play with Lauren Hovey, but they played with Amanda Otten, which is kind of the look of the team we have right now, is Amanda Otten's continuing to start.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where you just kind of have to look at it and be like, there are injuries that happen, and they won at the Stroh already. They're going to be playing at the Stroh too. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a chance where you see the same outcome, but you could also see Ohio come back and say, well, we want revenge for what happened earlier in the season. So it could really go either way here, Ben.
Yeah, Ohio's certainly a very good team. Probably going to be represented fairly well when it comes down to the postseason awards that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. They are just below Bowling Green and quite a bit of stats so far, but the confidence for this Falcon team probably has to be pretty good. One, they're coming off a 3-game win streak, 1 game against Akron and now 2 against Buffalo, but also you played them and beat them earlier on in the season. It's just going to come down to whether the Falcons can play like they did the last 3 games and play how they started MAC play, or are they going to play like they did in the middle when they were, kind of decimated by injuries a little bit and kind of fell down. Which team are we going to see this weekend in the MAC tournament?
Yeah, and I think the big thing is, like you said, is the injuries happened a little bit ago. It's been a little bit of time. They've been able to feel themselves out through a couple of matches. I mean, they've been with this team for a little bit now. So being able to have that going into the tournament, it's not like you're going into the tournament with a whole different perspective because you just got a new injury. So you have a better chance of keeping it going.
Also nice, a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned on the Zig Zone how nice it would be to get Amanda Otten back in the weeks prior to the MAC tournament if you played your way in. They did play their way in, and they have had Amanda Otten back, who's playing amazing volleyball, and she did against Buffalo. In the first game against Buffalo, she had 41 assists, 2 kills, 10 digs for a double-double. And in the second game against Buffalo, in the sweep that the Falcons had, she had 29 assists and 12 digs. Another double-double for Amanda Otten, along with 5 kills on 10 total attacking attempts. So Amanda Otten truly is an X factor for this team, Noah. It's difficult playing without Lauren Hovey, one of the best players in Bowling Green volleyball history, but the team's playing well. Even without her, and the team's played a while in this iteration. So I feel pretty confident coming into this weekend and at least taking 1 win.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I think the other thing to talk about with Otten is she is fantastic on the court, but her leadership goes so much farther than that. And I mean, having her back, even with Hovey out, she brings a huge addition to the team with her there.
Yeah, Hovey and Otten, both veterans for this Falcon team, and definitely key pieces missing from the floor. When they were missing during a couple of games, I believe was 2 Ball State games, Hovey played, Amanda Otten did not, and then a couple of Western Michigan games and a couple of Miami games that were kind of here and there with the availability of both of them. I don't think we're going to have any availability of Lauren Hovey throughout the MAC tournament for the Falcons, but barring a crazy circumstance, we probably have Amanda Otten, which is a big piece for the Falcons. She was one of the leaders in assists in the MAC up until her injury in the first game against Toledo. Speaking of Toledo, they play number 5 Miami at 4 o'clock on Friday. Falcon Media Sports Network will have a broadcast of that game, as all the games are in the Stroh Center this weekend, and then that game will be followed up by Bowling Green and Ohio, that one at 7 p.m. On Friday. I believe we are going to have a broadcast of that as well on Falcon Radio streaming at bgfalconmedia.com. If the Falcons win, Noah, they play Western Michigan, who is the number 2 team in the Mid-American Conference and a team that swept the Falcons on the road, and that was definitely a tough sweep for the Falcons, one that they had to take a look at themselves and bring back some identity into the team. And if they're able to win that game, they play Ball State, who's the number 1 seed. So you looked at 2 years ago when the Falcons went on a 6-seed miracle run. It's going to be a tall order to do it this year, especially beating number 3, then having to beat number 2, and then having to beat number 1.
Yeah, completely. But like you mentioned, Ben, it just happened recently. So it's not out of the wheelhouse for it to happen. And I mean, I think the other thing is, looking at that Western Michigan team, I feel like everyone in the Falcon fandom knows going to Kalamazoo is not fun. Yeah. Rather, it's volleyball, soccer, football, no matter what it is. No. So them being at the Stroh, while home court does make a difference, I think it could make even more of a difference in this case. Yeah,
those series against Western Michigan, both 5-set matches, both matches, the Falcons felt like they could have won. I know Chelsea Carter iterated that point and post-game press conferences after the Western Michigan series, but both of them 5-set matches, both games that Bowling Green could beat. To be honest, Noah, heading into this weekend, Bowling Green also played a 5-set match against Ball State, and that was a match that Lauren Hovey played. Amanda Otten did not. So I really don't feel like there's a team in this tournament that's outside of the realm for Bowling Green to beat. Kind of how we felt about women's soccer and how well they played, that all the teams above them, while they were ranked higher in seeding, were teams that Bowling Green had either tied or beaten or played very close to and probably could have won. And I kind of have that same feeling about volleyball at this stage.
And I think that thing is, it happens a lot with the Falcons, is we just have a lot of grit as a university. And I feel like with dealing with injuries and stuff like that, Bowling Green's going to be able to be that gritty team and keep grinding and try and get a win.
Not to mention that's kind of the MO of Alex Del Piombo. She has a couple of sayings that relate exactly to that, and it's historically been a Bowling Green team that does not back down from adversity. I do want to talk a little bit about the 2023 MAC tournament that Bowling Green was involved in. They did end up losing in the championship to Western Michigan in 5 sets. But before that, they dealt with injuries during the regular season, ended up making the MAC tournament as the 6th seed. They played the 3 seed Ball State and won in 5. They played the 2 seed Buffalo and won in 3. And then they ended up losing to Western Michigan in 5 sets in Kalamazoo. So a different team, but kind of the same path that the Falcons have taken to that spot where you deal with some injuries mid-season that derail, kind of your setter, kind of some attackers as well. I know Petra Androva was injured for that season. Amanda Otten was injured some during that year as well, and an incredible freshman year that she had been having. And then you go into the MAC tournament, and history says that the Falcons performed pretty well as the 6th seed, at least through the last couple of years. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it.
Nothing is out of the realm of possibility. And I think that no matter what happens, I think the Falcons need to be happy because they've made it this far with these big injuries to their star players.
Yeah, it's tough to say too that, it's tough to be happy about the season as a whole. And the season's not over yet. If they win the MAC championship, obviously it's a plus. But I mean, you're talking about a team that was preseason predicted to be not only the regular season championship, but the tournament champ as well. And while Ball State's a great team and they've dominated through MAC play this season, the number 1 seed this year, I mean, you can't help but think, that could have been Bowling Green, or maybe should have been Bowling Green had some things fallen your way differently. So it's, at least right now, tough to say that you're happy by where you ended up, because it was an expectation that you make the tournament, and the fact that you were outside of it looking in up until the last 2 weeks is kind of, not where you wanted to be.
Of course, and especially once the tournament is done, then you can really say, oh, do we consider this a happy sense of feeling or not? Because it really could go either way. You are correct about that, Ben. Yeah,
it's definitely something to keep our eye on as we get through the MAC tournament, or at least something to keep in our minds through the MAC tournament this week and through the rest of Bowling Green's season, which could end this coming weekend. They play Friday at 7 p.m. If they win, they'll play Saturday at 7 p.m., November 21st, and then November 22nd. And then if they win that, they'll play Sunday, November 23rd at 4 p.m. I believe, as of right now, all of the matches for the MAC tournament will be covered, broadcast by the Falcon Media Sports Network, written for, most likely previewed. Each individual day will be previewed as well by the Falcon Media Sports Network, so be on the lookout for that. BGFalconMedia.com and BG_FMSN on Twitter. Noah, you want to do a little bit of predictions here and deciding who we think is going to be the MAC tournament champ?
Yeah, I mean, of course, let's do it. I mean, for starters, I would say the only time anyone from BGSU was ever thankful for a Toledo win was last weekend with what went down against Akron. Yeah. So obviously we do not want them to win this week. So I am going to go Miami.
Yeah.
I feel like that's obvious there. You don't want to face Toledo ever.
Yeah, I think Toledo's hasn't been playing well the last couple of weeks, so I do agree with you there, and going with Miami, because Miami has played pretty well the last couple of weeks. They did beat Bowling Green at home for them. Bowling Green was on the road, and then they played pretty well the last couple of weeks to get themselves into the tournament, so I'll go with Miami there. I think it's pretty clear. I don't know a lot of people that would choose Ohio over Bowling Green, considering they've played the same teams have played against each other. Bowling Green without Lauren Hovey last time. They'll be without Lauren Hovey this time, most likely. I don't know who would choose Ohio in this situation.
It should be all BGSU.
And Bowling Green's on a 3-game win streak, which I don't know the last time they had a win streak that was 3 games long. But earlier in the season for sure, maybe non-conference play. Oh, it was probably the first 2 weeks of the season.
It was the first
was
2
Ohio,
weeks.
Kent
It went
State,
OU, Kent State, Eastern,
and then
and
Eastern
Central.
Michigan and Central. And then Toledo, when Amanda Otten got hurt, things kind of derailed a bit. So that means with Miami beating Toledo, Miami would play Ball State at 4 p.m. on Saturday. I feel pretty confident about Ball State in that situation.
I feel pretty confident about Ball State.
Most likely going to be the MAC Player of the Year. And Carson Tyler, Sophie Ledbetter, their libero is also unbelievable. They have 2 very solid setters that have played extremely well this season, a freshman and a junior, I believe. So, yeah, Ball State in that. Now it gets tough. Bowling Green and Western Michigan, I think, 2 very evenly matched teams. 2 great setters. It's kind of a good story too, because Western Michigan with Colleen Munson has had a historic head coach and MAC volleyball and volleyball total, and Alex Del Piombo in her first year. She's been with the program for a while, but first year as head coach of anything volleyball related. So a huge story, if nothing else, out of that game.
I would say not even in volleyball sense, but in the 2 colleges sense. I mean, I think everyone here can agree that there's a rivalry between Western Michigan and us building. Obviously, it's not as big as Toledo, but there is a rivalry there between Western Michigan and Bowling Green. So I think it's going to be a great match. I will 100% be there, if not working it.
Oh, yeah.
So
it
could really go either way.
Yeah, it definitely could. I don't think Western Michigan, I don't think either one of these teams, based on how they've played the last couple of years, are going to take a season sweep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like 2 years ago, Western beat Bowling Green in the tournament. I believe that Bowling Green beat Western in the regular season, or they played a couple of times in the regular season. And then last year, Western Michigan obviously knocked Bowling Green out of the tournament in the semifinal, but Bowling Green beat them twice in the regular season. I just don't feel like it's going to be a clean sweep.
Yeah.
I just, Western beat Bowling Green twice at home in Kalamazoo. They have to play in Bowling Green now. And the Falcons, if they're able to beat Ohio the day before, are going to be on a 4-game win streak then. They're going to have a lot of confidence.
They'll be tied with the highest of their season. I
mean,
I could see it.
Yeah, and not to mention, Western Michigan's going to have to play a game cold. Like, Bowling Green will have played a game the day before. And barring, like, a 5-set match where everybody's beat up, I'll take the team that has played a game.
Yeah, especially if it's not that long. Exactly. It would be a lot better.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a bye week and, MLB postseason or NHL postseason or something. The team gets a week off and then kind of comes in cold. Obviously, it's a little bit different because they only get a day off. But, they got to sit there and watch the teams, and they haven't played volleyball for a week. And the first time they will is against a team that played yesterday. So
and feel hot,
something
too.
to look out for there. I'd say not being a homer, Bowling Green over Western Michigan, just for that reason. That I don't think Western's going to clean sweep Falcons on the season. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think we did a good job of taking the bias out of that, honestly. And looking at it, if you look at the past couple seasons, like you had mentioned, with those, it seems like a trend that no one will take both series. So
yeah, definitely.
If you give Bowling Green that would be a Bowling Green Ball State.
Yeah, and then you look toward the championship, which in the situation we just talked about would be Ball State and Bowling Green if we're following our bracket. I don't know. I think Ball State's insanely talented, and I think a Bowling Green team without Lauren Hovey might run into some trouble. Although in an individual game, which Bowling Green was playing with Lauren Hovey and without Amanda Otten earlier in the season, the Falcons did have a 5-set match on the first night, and you do have the benefit of not having to play 2 or 3. You do only play 1, which does play into their hands a bit because a team that might be lesser talent-wise can come out and beat a team that might be better. They just have a good game, and the other team doesn't. And I also think Miami and Toledo are lesser teams than Bowling Green and Western Michigan. So either of the teams that Ball State would play in the previous round will probably be a lesser talented team than the team that they'll play in the championship, which might play into that Ball State opponent in the championship's hands. Man, I don't know. Just the only one you can really pencil in is Ball State.
I would say, yeah. I would say Ball State for sure. And I mean, if you're talking preseason, no injuries for the Falcons, I would say it's pretty easily Ball State and BGSU.
And not to say that there isn't a chance.
Yeah, there 100% is a chance.
It could go either way, and it was only a couple points that separated Falcons from a win against Ball State earlier in the season, without a setter, with 3 setters basically, because you were playing Anna Sheetek and Lauren Hovey and Belle Laube at the time at the setter position, and now you have stability in your offense, and it's functioned pretty well the last couple of games, especially against Buffalo and in the second game against Akron. So. Yeah, so that's the tournament. Toledo, Miami, and Bowling Green in Ohio on Friday, 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Those will be broadcast by the Falcon Media Sports Network. It depends on what time we'll go on, but be on the lookout for our Twitter page, BG_FMSN. We'll post about those, and we'll post article previews and recaps for all of the games on the weekend on bgfalconmedia.com, which will also have start times for our broadcast and all other coverage information. So the MAC volleyball tournament this weekend for Bowling Green, they had a win and get in, and they won, and they got in, and now they play Ohio on Friday. An impressive feat for the Falcons the last couple of games to kind of back their way into the tournament. They didn't need any help, but they did get the help if they needed it, and they were pretty in after they won that second game against Buffalo, with Akron losing the second game handily to Toledo. So we'll pivot away from volleyball right now, and we'll talk to you about volleyball later in the week during our broadcast, and we'll move over to the football team who did not play this last week. It's one of the last couple of Saturdays that they're not going to lose a game, which was a positive out of this last weekend. 2 weekends ago, they played Eastern Michigan on Saturday, lost by 6, 27-21, up in Rynearson Stadium in Ypsilanti. The week before, they lost at home, 28-3 against Buffalo. The week before that, they lost to Kent State, 24-21. The week before that, they lost to Central Michigan, 27-6, and they have not won a game since October 11th against Toledo at home, and a comeback victory. And, they've only won 1 out of their last 6 games. 1 out of the last 7 games that they've played, which takes them out of bowl eligibility with that loss to Eastern. And now they have, Noah, fairly meaningless games at the last 2 games of the season against Akron and UMass.
Yeah,
not great teams in the MAC, and they don't matter.
Yeah, there's nothing much there. I mean, obviously, as Falcon fans, you're going to want to get those wins because, being 3-5 in conference play versus 1-7 in conference play is a huge difference. So it would be nice to get those wins, but I think the big thing is not to overreact as heavily as I think people are, Ben, because there's a lot of people that I've heard that are really overreacting about this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because you have to look at it in the sense of Eddie George hasn't even been here for a whole year. He hasn't been able to recruit anyone. For the most part. Obviously he recruited his son, but besides few people, he hasn't been able to recruit anyone. This is still the old team. Yeah. So there's no reason to take too much consideration into what happened. Obviously, it is a difference.
The only thing I would knock about the personnel is quarterback situation.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think anybody was. Preseason we were talking about Drew Pine and the situation of the quarterback room, and we were expecting Drew Pine to at least be solid. Yeah. Like maybe not to where Connor Bazak was, maybe at where Connor Bazak was, but at least be solid. And we saw in the Eastern Michigan game that he was either benched or he was listed as questionable and didn't play. And Hunter Najim played in his stead and completed 11 passes for 130 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Actually looked pretty solid back at quarterback for the Falcons. But, yeah, the only thing I would be very critical about Eddie George was the Drew Pine and quarterback situation. Yeah. And even that's kind of countered by his running backs. He's played 3 of them this year, and they've been outstanding when they've played.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things where if I was a first-year head coach and I was looking at my quarterback room and I said, hey, this guy's played in big games. He's played for Power 4 teams. That's who I would have gone with. Like, looking at, like, taking any bias out of it, you're just, this guy looked like the most experienced. Yeah. That's who you go with. But
I will say our Falcon Media Sports Network football beat, Sean Connolly, is also a Notre Dame fan. Obviously watched Drew Pine play, and he wasn't like overly stoked.
Yeah, exactly.
So that maybe should have been a precursor to what we could expect. But there was always a chance either way that he played well or that he played poorly. Now you head into Akron and UMass. UMass, one of the worst teams in the MAC, one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in FBS football. And Akron, not a great team in the Mid-American Conference. You have them at your final home game. I think the home crowd has been very solid throughout the year. Obviously, the first games at home. Lafayette was going to get packed because it was the first game of the year.
Of course.
Liberty, I believe, was homecoming.
Yes.
And Liberty's a good team, so that was a good game, and it got packed out. And then you had Toledo at home. It's the Battle of I-75. People are going to show up. Central Michigan, there were still hopes for the MAC championship, so people showed up.
Along with family weekend.
Buffalo's senior days, a solid amount of people for that, but definitely less than the other games. And I don't know what to expect, at least out of crowd against Akron, because I don't know, like, it's a team that's really playing for nothing.
Yeah, and I think other thing
besides
is...
just pride of not losing a game to Akron or UMass.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think the other thing with that is it's a 7 p.m. Tuesday game. Well, we all love Maction, obviously.
And we're all going to watch. At least, we're going to watch. I'm definitely going to watch.
I will most likely watch.
Yeah.
But be there in person? Probably not, because who knows what it's going to feel like here.
People got homework, man.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, let's look at the weather for
Let's check the weather for that day.
Tuesday.
Let's be weathermen here.
Yeah. Tuesday, 42 degrees and rainy. Oh my gosh.
So, my point proven there. in a season that does not matter at this point.
Yeah, 40% chance of rain at game time, at least as of right now.
A 7 p.m. Tuesday game with rain. You're 1-5 in conference play. I personally would not be going to that game.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I mean, it's tough because you want to go to the games because you want to support your team, obviously. But I just don't see a world where there's that many people that go. And I don't think that's a knock on the football team even. I think that's just in general.
And not to mention, Akron's not competing for anything either. They're 3-4.
So it's not like you're playing
4-7
spoiler.
overall. So you're not playing spoiler. You're not playing a team that's going to be in the MAC championship. You're a team that's not going to even make a bowl game playing against a team that's maybe going to make a bowl game if they beat you. Akron's got 4 wins on the season. Bowling Green's their last game of the season, so then no, they won't make a bowl game.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
two teams that won't even make a bowl game against each other on Tuesday night action.
And on top of that, Akron's ineligible to make bowl game this year.
Yeah.
So it's like they
literally
couldn't have anyways. So
yeah, you're right.
It's just not. It's not going to be.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. And then the week after that, you got University of Massachusetts. Pretty cool that it's the first time that you'll play them as a conference opponent. But it's they're 0-for, and honestly, it makes me pretty nervous about that game because
you don't want to be that team.
Yes, and I mean, how many wins did Eastern have when you played them last week? They had 2 wins.
Yeah. It's not like you're immune to losing to the teams that aren't as good as you.
We penciled that game in as an absolute win earlier in the season.
Yeah.
I think you should by far, but it's not by any means guaranteed. No. Last time the Falcons and the Minutemen, I believe UMass is, played was 2015. Bowling Green won 62-38. The Falcons are 4-0 against UMass in their history, 2015, 2014, 2013, and 2012. Was that when UMass was in the MAC previously?
Must have been. I would assume so.
Those are the only 4 times that they've met in football, and Bowling Green's won all 4 times. The closest game, 47-42 in 2014 on September 27th in Amherst, which is where Bowling Green plays the next week. That'll be Tuesday, November 25th at 4:30. Oh my gosh, 4:30 on a Tuesday?
Yeah, before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's Thursday.
Gosh.
I mean, just incredible.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with a 7 o'clock Tuesday game, but a 4:30 Tuesday game?
Yeah.
I mean, people are not even if you work a 9 to 5, you're not off of work.
No. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's not a. I don't know.
I think
it's not even like that game was. I guess ESPNU has got to get the game in before a 7 o'clock game. I guess on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just those are 2 teams that are not going to be competing for anything. Like if it was Miami and Ohio, it would stink. But like at least people would watch.
Yeah.
Or they would tune in to watch. Nobody's going to tune in to watch. 3-win Bowling Green against no-win UMass from Amherst on 4:30 on a Tuesday.
Yeah, there's not going to be many. I would say that, and I think that's what sucks. Is it's like we just expected better, so to come into the end of the season and not have anything to play for, because even if let's say theoretically we took that game against Eastern and we win next week against Akron, and then you're playing for bowl eligibility against UMass, then you have something to watch.
Yeah,
so it's it sucks.
At least you have that. But even in that situation, you should have beat UMass. Or it's pretty much guaranteed that you beat UMass because
Yeah.
you would have beat two teams that are objectively better.
Yeah.
So then it's like it should be the expectation you make, and even that the meaning of the game is automatically taken away. And then you're
True.
just worried about what bowl game you're going to make.
Yeah.
But you're not even going to make a bowl game now with your loss to Eastern last week. So, we're heading into a part of the schedule. I literally have it listed as one of the notes to talk about. There's literally no point to the rest of the season. I mean, you're playing football.
No.
You want to see, how. I mean, you can't even really see how certain players are doing unless you're going to play true freshmen because
I was about to say.
I mean, it would be nice to see how Austin Dendy does and McMillan and their running backs and maybe run 2-3 of them, give them the same amount of touches, just see how they do in comparison to each other the next couple of weeks. But Drew Pine shouldn't be on the team next year. I don't know if Eddie George likes Lucian Anderson enough to keep him and try him as the starter, depending on how his injury progresses and whatever. So you can't even play Lucian Anderson. Hunter Najim, I don't think is the long-term answer. So maybe he'll get the starts, but you can't even watch and see if the quarterback's any good for next year.
Yeah, that is tough. I mean, if you knew that Najim was going to be the guy for next year, then obviously it's the clear you start him and you see how he does. But I do think that is the right move. You go to your freshman guys, your young guys, and just see where you can play them. See what happens, see how they play.
Yeah, Austin Dendy, redshirt freshman, he's got a very nice last couple of weeks after redshirting last year. Came into this year, played against Kent State, Buffalo, and Eastern Michigan, so that's 3 games in a row for Austin Dendy after Cameron Petaway was injured. He's got 59 attempts, almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Last week, his best game by far, 21 attempts for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think it's beyond him just being like one-hit wonder now. He's played 3 games, and he's been pretty decent, so now the goal should be definitely to keep him around for next year because I think he does have an extreme value. He's big, he's fast, he's shifty. So I think he does have a lot of value. I don't know.
And he's young.
He's young.
You have time to develop him. He's played good the last 3 games. I mean, I feel like that's a no-brainer. And he should be getting, if not 50-50 of the carries, I would go even farther and just give him as many as possible out of those carries, and he should be playing the next 2 games like all else matters.
That or you give all of the carries to one guy, like give them all to somebody we don't even know, and just say, show us what you can do.
Yeah, one of those
maybe
two.
You'll be able to stay around for next year, or at least give guys tape that if they want to go in the portal and go to another spot, they give a chance to prove yourself in general. Yeah. Just to see what they can do.
And again, it sucks that we have to talk about it like that. I know. But that's where we're at. It sucks, but it is.
Yeah, I know. It is what it is. A couple of seniors that I don't know how much time they have left or how much eligibility they have left, but these are just listed as seniors that are playing their last couple of games. Kadarius Roberts, who's been pretty solid this year, I'd say. RJ Garcia, who's been essentially absent this year, mainly due to a lack of passing attack from the Falcons. He's got 1 completion. Is that right? Oh, no, that's passing. Never mind.
I was about to say,
that's... Here's receiving. He's got 26 completions for not even 300 yards. And he has not had a 100-yard receiving game. His max game is 3 receptions for 60 yards. And his most receptions in a game is 5 receptions against Cincinnati. So I don't know how much eligibility he has left, but probably not, too much. Maybe 1 more year.
I'd assume, max.
And Jaron Johnson, also a senior. Jalen McLennan, cornerback, also a senior, maybe playing in his last couple of games. Finn Hogan is probably going to graduate and not play anymore. John Henderson, your punter, is going to be gone after this year. Bam Booker, your defensive end. George Carlson, Alex Paget, Andrew Kilfoyle. Nate Pabst is a senior. Again, all these guys, you don't know if you have eligibility left because Drew Pine is a graduate student, and I think he's got a year of eligibility.
Yeah, so you have no clue how it works.
Yeah, Baron May, also a grad student. He looked pretty good, but I don't know how much eligibility he has left. So Cade Zimmerly, another one, Blaine Cleaver. So a lot of guys that are playing in their last couple of games of maybe football and their college career, which is unfortunate that it has to come down to, a couple of games that it is tough to bring care around about.
The thing is, though, I think as a team and as someone who's played on a team, like those last 2 games, that's what they should be looking for, is playing for those guys that won't be playing again.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the only way you make it worthwhile.
Oh, no, you
that
can't.
sense.
Yeah. They certainly should not play like the games don't matter.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And to be honest, I don't think being a motivational guy, Eddie George will let them play like the games don't matter. I mean, there's no way. But from a fan standpoint, which is why we have this sports show, I can't bring myself to really have that much care about Akron and the UMass games, because if they lose, if you lose, it sucks because you lose to 2 teams you feel like you're better than. But if you win, it's teams that you should have beat, and it's all right. Whatever, you still didn't make a bowl game, nor did you compete for the MAC tournament.
I think the most care that fans have is not losing to UMass. You know what I mean? Like not being that team. That's the only care that I think even I would have. Like I just don't want to lose to them.
Yeah, that's a pride thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want to say that you lost to UMass to be their only win on the season.
You know what else is a pride thing?
0-10 and 0-6 is UMass this year. 0-5 at home, 0-5 on the road.
You know what else is a pride thing? Even though we did have this terrible season, we beat Toledo.
True.
I know. It's hard to look at the bright spots.
I guess that's true.
You know that someone out there is like, well, we beat Toledo. It's all that matters. Someone out there is sitting there like, yep, this is good. I mean, you have to look at a bright spot somewhere.
Yeah, I guess it's true.
That's about it. I mean, I don't know what bright spot else you'd look at.
Yeah, 4 weeks ago you beat Toledo. Five weeks ago you beat Toledo. I mean, that's really the only thing that you can look at. And you've lost 4 games since, so it really takes away all joy you had in beating Toledo.
I mean, if you take it away from a football perspective, you've done a great job marketing. You've had sellout crowds.
And you've won homecoming and you won your rivalry.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at that, you'd also assume you had a pretty good season, but...
Yeah, no. Yeah, that didn't happen. Next year, the non-conference schedule stands pretty tough. Yeah. Tarleton State at home should probably be a victory, although don't know how they're going to look next year. I don't know much about them right now. And then you play Nebraska on September 12th, Iowa State on September 19th, and South Florida on September 26th. So a pretty rough schedule considering USF is coming to town, but they're a pretty solid team.
I would consider them one of the best non-Power 4 teams.
A very good bid for the, what's it called?
The non-Power 4.
Yeah, the non-Power 4 spot in the national championship race. And then Iowa State, Nebraska, neither one of them slouches. Iowa State in the Big 12 and Nebraska in the Big 10. Nebraska, I thought, was going to be sleeper this year, and they kind of, fell apart a bit. But still, not bad teams. You're going to go to Lincoln and you're going to go to Ames, Iowa. So, again, we're looking forward for this football team. We'll look forward to the 2 games this week. The one at home against Akron will be broadcast by the Falcon Media Sports Network on Falcon Radio. Sean Connolly and Tyler Kavlitz, I believe, will be on the call for the final home football game for both of them in their careers as coverees of the Falcon football team, but also the final home game for Falcon football this season at Doyle Perry Stadium, 7 p.m. on Tuesday, 6:35 is when our pregame show will start for the Falcon Media Sports Network. Noah, how do you feel about pregame shows that we've been putting in? Because I led one for women's basketball against Wisconsin, and I had pretty fun being in the studio and talking about stuff, and I've been on the broadcasting end of a couple where it just takes some airtime away, which is kind of nice that you don't have to talk about it.
I think it's the biggest 3-for-1, 2-for-1, whatever you want to call it ever, because yes, it gives broadcasters a break, but also it gives other people chances, because I'm a baseball beat, I'm a soccer beat, but I love basketball. I love football. I still want to talk about those things. So being able to come in here and talk about basketball or talk about football,
agreed.
Why not? I mean, it's great.
Yeah, I'm an opinionated guy. I'd like to voice my opinion.
Yeah, of course. Aren't we all?
Come on now. Yeah, I think it's a blast, and especially being a hockey guy myself, and the last 2 years. Doing a 15-minute pregame and then 20-minute period and then 15-minute intermission and then 20-minute period and then it's nice to
try and just fill that. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, hopefully everybody listening enjoys them as well. Football, I believe we started doing the studio shows for pregame, halftime, and postgame for football, and then it's kind of been adapted to other sports as well, including hockey and both men's and women's basketball. That we'll talk about all three of those sports, hockey, men's, and women's, after the turn of the hour. We'll take a quick break right now, and when we bring you back, we'll have an unrelated to sports question before we get into our second hour of talk for Bowling Green Athletics. You're listening to the Zig Zone here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Black Swamp Players of Bowling Green is dedicated to the advancement of amateur theatrics, including production of live theater as well as various educational opportunities involving the arts. Founded in 1965, the organization provides high-quality amateur live theater as well as opportunities to the cast, crews, and the viewing public. BSP is a nonprofit organization whose volunteer membership is open to any person, regardless of age, religion, sexual orientation, or race. Visit blackswampplayers.org for more information. The premier community theater of Bowling Green is the Black Swamp Players. For over 50 years, Black Swamp Players has been dedicated to the advancement of amateur theatrics, including production of live theater as well as various educational opportunities involving the arts. BSP is a nonprofit organization whose volunteer membership is open to any person regardless of age, religion, sexual orientation, or race. For more information or to volunteer, visit blackswampplayers.org.
Back here in WBGU 88.1 FM, the Zig Zone, every Sunday at 4 p.m. That's what you're listening to right now. Myself, Ben Korak, Noah Seeley, in here for the show today. We'll talk about our non-revenue sports here in Bowling Green Athletics for just a little bit. Both cross-country teams competed in NCAA regionals this last weekend. We'll talk about men's first because women's is a pretty positive one. Men's finished dead last at NCAA regionals, I believe, out of a field of 30 teams. They had a total time of 2 hours, 52 minutes, and 56 seconds between their runners, and the winning team had a time of 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 30 seconds. So about a 22-minute disparity there between Notre Dame, who won, and Bowling Green, who finished last, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when, runners come in 10, 15 seconds apart, 22 minutes is a lot between the leader and the loser. So men's cross country did finish last. Notre Dame did finish first at the regional. The season is over for men's cross country. Micah Bentley finished with the best performance this last weekend at regionals, finished 157th, but again, none of them will compete at nationals. So the men's cross country season is over. The women's cross country season is also over. They turn themselves over to indoor track and field. They finished 6th at their individual at the regional, which is a pretty solid time. They had a total of an hour and 44 minutes and 28 seconds. The winning team, Notre Dame, had 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 40 seconds. So only less than a 5-minute disparity between those two. That's pretty solid with Notre Dame, that's ranked, I think, top 3 in the nation in cross country. So a very impressive mark there for the women's team. Kylie Cubison finished 14th, 2024, her time. Rachel Withrow, 31st. Rachel Hoover, 37th. Regina Rose, 43rd. And Lexi Panning, 50th. All 5 Bowling Green runners finished in the top 50, all of them under 21 minutes and 30 seconds. Impressive marks from the women's cross-country team that had an outstanding season this season, especially Kylie Cubison, who led the way there at 14th place in all of the region. That includes a lot of Big Ten schools.
Yeah, and I think Cubison, out of all people at Bowling Green State University, deserves a little bit more credit than what some give her because it's a non-revenue sport. She's done a great job just doing her thing, just running. I mean, that's what she does. And she's
Great job running, Kylie.
But, realistically, though, she's always been in the top of these races. I mean, she always is.
Yeah, we're talking about her all the time. Obviously, her premier is cross country because she's distance, but also very good at track as well. She is a 2024-25 indoor MAC champion and all MAC first team for indoor track and field, which is outside of cross country, and then outdoor All-MAC champion and All-MAC first team as well. She had an outstanding fall season for Bowling Green women's cross country. Also this last week, women's swim and dive competed and beat University of Texas Rio Grande Valley 373 to 161. I'm not going to act like I know ins and outs of the point scoring for swim and dive, but I do know that 373 to 161 is an insane differential.
Yeah.
Like, that is unbelievable.
I mean, if there's
granted it's your home pool, but I don't think there's a lot of home water advantage.
Yeah, I don't
your
think
home pool,
so.
But
I mean,
that's a whipping.
Yeah. I mean, what I've heard is that this is a spectacular start. I mean,
if
we're 8-0, 2-0 in conference
certainly.
play. Like, we are by far, like, it could be one of our best sports at that, like, at the end of the season.
Maybe, yeah.
So it's like something you should look into if you're a BGSU fan and you want to find something different.
Yeah, find the Butler duels October 4th, 239 to 54 they won, and then they beat Bellarmine the day after, 248 to 45. Bellarmine, one of the two.
Same difference.
And then University of Indy 211.5 to 87.5. Then beat Xavier 202 to 91, and then beat I don't know who that logo is, but again at the Butler duos they won 233 to 66. The closest competition they've had so far is Miami of Ohio, 131 to 112, but they were able to come away with the win over the Red Hawks, and then also against Eastern Michigan University by about 38, and now a pretty solid win over University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. And the first night, 114 to 33, and then the second, 273 to 161. They go into the Magnus Cup Invitational, hosted by Cleveland State in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Busby Natatorium. I guess that's what that is. What's a natatorium?
It's a great
question.
We
look up what a natatorium
Let's do
is?
it. Let's add it to the list. I mean, it's got to do something with. It's an add-on to an auditorium. A swimming auditorium.
Swimming pool.
Heck
swimming
yeah.
pool, especially one that is indoors. Okay, so we learned a new word today. Natatorium is how you pronounce it. An auditorium is a swimming pool, especially one that is indoors. We should start doing vocab words.
We should.
The Zig Zone. That's a very
I want to say,
idea.
I pulled that before you called it. Before you searched it up, I pulled it. It was a swimming auditorium. I said it.
Well, we have it on tape and we have it on recording, so we'll have to
check
clip
it.
that up when we post clips later on in the week. Also, if you want to hear clips from the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., which is the show that we're in right now, myself and Noah Seeley, follow BG_FMSN on Twitter and BG Falcon Media on Instagram as well. Clips from the Zig Zone, the most important parts, are posted on there weekly. So we will move into our non-related sports question for the next about 10 minutes or so before we head into our second hour, and we'll talk about Bowling Green hockey, and they took 2 wins. Men's basketball took a loss, but a pretty solid loss, and women's basketball 2 losses, but pretty solid 2 losses over the last weekend. That will be after the turn of the hour, come 5 o'clock. But Noah, I was thinking about this the other day because obviously we're in the time between Halloween and Thanksgiving. At what point in the year do you feel like it's Christmas season, and is that different from the point that you start to at what point that actually is Christmas season, or that you actually start to celebrate?
Okay, so the way that I do this, I know for a fact, like the way my family does it, the way my dad does it, it is as soon as Thanksgiving's done, like Thanksgiving, the night of Thanksgiving, the day after, put up the tree, Christmas music, the whole shebang. The way I do it personally, as soon as I see the first snowfall, it's Christmas time. Right? And then obviously, like, there's a break for Thanksgiving. Like the time that we have off for Thanksgiving break, that is Thanksgiving. But the rest of November, I will listen to Christmas music if it snows. If it hasn't snowed by that point, then you wait.
Yeah, but I know people that, like, night 2 of Halloween were like dressing up in Christmas stuff.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, first of all, we haven't even got to Thanksgiving yet. It hasn't got below 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not Christmas season yet. I used to be very, like, I don't want to say Scroogey about it, but, like, I would be like, it's not Christmas until it hits December.
Ben Scroogey? Never.
Yeah, I know. Never. I do love Christmas. It's my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I was always like, it's got to be December. It used to be like a couple of weeks before and then way after, because religiously it's the few weeks after Christmas is more the Christmas season than before.
Of course.
Yeah, I used to be like as soon as it hits December, and then it's kind of moved back to Thanksgiving for me.
Okay.
Probably the day after Black Friday, I think.
I think that is 100% fair. Like I wouldn't say like, oh, you're not listening to Christmas music like in November, you're crazy.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
like I don't think it's that out of the realm to be like, hey, it's November 1st, it snowed today.
When do you guys put up your tree then?
Depends. So currently, this is funny. So we have 2 trees, right? So we have one tree that's in the living room and one tree that's in a different room. The one that's in the different room is like the tree that all the presents go under. So you put that up after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
The one that we have right now is in like the living room. And that one, like we decorate it. Like right now it's decorated like Ohio State stuff because we're Ohio State fans.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a white tree and you have like red Ohio State ornaments on it.
Okay.
Right? So right now it's that. And it's that from like literally like November 1st until after the Ohio State Michigan game, obviously, and then you turn it to Christmas. And so that's what I do. But
that kind of rocks.
The actual Christmas tree is after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Do you do fake or
fake,
real?
Fake
Christmas tree?
I've done one real.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's every
yeah,
year
my family's strictly. I don't know that I'll ever get artificial tree. I love the real tree.
Where are you from again?
Michigan.
Like up Michigan?
Not up Michigan. Like 20 minutes west of Detroit.
Okay.
But it's still very common. Like the people that we used to go get our trees from, they've since moved locations, so we don't buy from them anymore. But they're from like Petoskey or something.
Yeah.
That they grow trees, and then they just live it like down where I am for like 2 months.
I don't know why. I just feel like it makes way more sense for like people from Michigan just to have those real trees. I have friends, and I'm from Ohio, obviously.
Yeah.
But I have friends that have real trees. But I think for the most part, it's artificial from where I'm from.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just like there's something about having a tree that's not perfect all the time.
Oh yeah, I think that's nice.
And it makes your house smell nice. And it's kind of fun to be able to like you have to keep watering it and you kind of got to keep up with it and like trim off dead limbs and stuff.
It's a genuine thing. Like when I have a family, I don't know which way I'll go. It's something I'll have to decide at that point.
Yeah. It also, like, I guess, I never really thought about it, but in Ohio, I could see how it's tough to come across.
Yeah.
Like real trees, maybe. Or maybe they're more expensive. By the way, a real tree is insanely expensive.
I'm
It
sure.
is like you're paying a lot of money to not have an artificial tree, which is like a sacrifice that I think I'd be willing to make once a year.
I think that's something that you could. You budget it out and you have it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like budget out expensive.
Oh, really?
But like there's people in my neighborhood that have, like the foyers when you walk into their house, and it's like however feet tall, like I don't know, 25 feet tall.
You have
maybe.
a room for a big
and
tree.
they have like a huge tall tree, and those can get up to like I think $250-$300.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad.
It's not like that bad, but a tree, that's still kind of a lot of
that
money,
you'll use for a month.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the thing. So then at that point, if you're getting a real tree, why not get it like as early as possible so you can use it for a longer time?
True. That's also true. When do you take your tree down? Because this is the argument everybody uses against it, because they're like, well, I'll put it up and then we're just going to throw it on the side we're just going to throw it on the curb as soon as like the day after Christmas comes around. They're like, well, we leave ours up like we put it up 3 weeks before Christmas, and then we leave it up like 2-3 weeks after.
All right, so this is gonna blow your mind, right? So we'll go back to the point. I have 2 trees, right? So the one that obviously has all the presents under it.
You better be careful here.
I know. Oh, I know. This is gonna get crazy.
All right.
So the one that we have our like presents under, that one's probably up till mid-January. I'd say max, like whatever. That one's whatever. The other one. So like we mentioned, the tree that's in the living room.
The Ohio State tree.
It's the Ohio State tree, right? So it's Ohio State till whatever time. Then when it hits January, my mom has like snowflakes, snowmen. Build that up for a month. Then it's Valentine's Day. What do you throw up then? You throw up hearts and stuff like that.
Does this just stay up all year round?
No, it doesn't. Okay. Then you get to St. Patrick's Day and you throw up clovers, leprechauns, and then that's the end of it.
Okay.
But it goes a little bit longer.
I was gonna say like it's July and you're throwing up red, white,
red,
blue
white, and blue. No.
The tree's like wilted and dying. Yeah,
but so it's like
that would kind of rock. Like as somebody that has 4 sports teams, that would rock to have a tree that was like decorated.
Yeah,
and Tigers until Tiger season ends, and then it's Red Wings and Pistons, and then once that like or Lions or like that would be kind of cool to leave all year round.
I don't know.
That kind of takes away from the specialty of Christmas, though.
Yeah, that's the
because
thing.
that's the thing I encounter like with radio stations that like the second Halloween's over start playing Christmas music.
It takes away
like
from
it's
the music.
cool, and I love Christmas music, but that means by the time you're a week, you actually start doing your Christmas shopping and you're bored.
Yeah,
because there's
wow.
only so many Christmas songs.
Yeah,
like
that's
I've heard
fair.
Mariah Carey 30 times
Already.
and it's like I love the song, but I don't want to hear it.
I think,
that
well,
much,
that's why
really.
I feel like, I'm not going to say like I'm correct, but I feel like when snowfall first hits, that's when you're
That's
like, you
fair.
can start listening to it. And I think whenever
Yeah.
it snows, I will have it on. Like, I'll admit, I didn't, on my drive over to the Coolant Center, I wasn't listening to Christmas music. But
I was
like,
not either.
if there was snow, if it was snowing, I probably would have been.
That's
And
fair.
I think that's just kind of where my like decision is.
Yeah. There's like a light show. There's a road that gets shut off near my house, and they put lights up. The city does, and it's really nice. Like I think it's like $5 to like drive your car through
that's not bad.
and see the lights. And my family just a couple of years didn't do it because you can't go when it's not snowing.
Yeah.
Like you can't go
Oh,
see
yeah.
Christmas lights when there's not snow on the ground.
I
It just
agree.
doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple of years that we just didn't go because like there wasn't convenient snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I would argue that there isn't a vibe better than like with Christmas music on driving through snow.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Snow and-
unbelievable.
And also another topic is white Christmas. Like oh my gosh, I will
yes.
never not be in Ohio or like a
Yes.
cold area for Christmas.
Exactly.
Because it's just amazing.
Yeah.
There's no other better feeling.
Yeah, if God forbid I have to move like down south and I'm coming home to my parents in Michigan
Oh,
for
yeah.
Christmas because
For sure.
like I can't go outside. I can't like open presents and then go outside in a t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah, like go to the
Like
go to the
that's-
pool.
I just can't. Like my mom grew up in Florida and she talks about that, and it's like that's just not.
No, I can't.
And especially like if you're in Florida and you listen to like White Christmas,
yeah, it's
like,
like
but
what?
there's palm trees.
Yeah, you
Like,
have palm trees out. What is this?
What do you mean?
No, I could not at all.
I mean,
will
I guess like
every time.
Jesus was in a warmer climate, so like maybe Jesus was born without snow on the ground. But I just feel like
Yeah,
because it's December, Christmas is more snow.
yeah, it has to be, in my opinion. There has to be.
Yeah, there
snow.
has to be snow on the ground. That's just.
And what
the
sucks
vibe.
is there hasn't been a lot of white Christmases lately. Like I feel
I
like it's
know.
been at least for me in Ohio, there has not been
Yeah,
like.
but
crazy.
I feel like when we were younger, like from the age of 4 to 12, maybe.
Oh, every
like
single year.
blizzards.
Oh yeah,
every
you're
year.
going outside
And I
full
would, like,
boots. And, yeah.
Completely different argument. I think we argued about seasons two weeks ago, on like what season was the best.
Oh no, I was on for that. Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I would love blizzards.
Yeah.
It's just so fantastic.
I mean,
Like,
until you're
even,
driving
even
them,
outside
but-
of Christmas, even driving. It's just,
Really?
Yeah, because it's kind of like aside from the danger of it, obviously, it's like aside from the risk of death, it's like
It's a good vibe.
I don't know. You just like relax.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you
a vibe.
can't be in a rush, so
No,
you
you're
just
right.
like kind of
Just
you
chill.
just kind of roll along.
That's fair.
And it's like you kind of got to focus on the road, and it's like something to talk about is the snow on the ground and how icy it is,
yeah.
and obviously
nothing
a lot
beats
of
it.
fatalities come from that, but a lot of them are people maybe distracted driving or not paying attention as much as
Yeah.
they should during times that are definitely dangerous to be on the roads and stuff like that. So speaking of wintertime, speaking of cold, speaking of ice, we'll move over to the ice after our quick break here at the turn of the hour for our hockey discussion. 2 wins for Bowling Green at home against Ferris State, Noah and I. We'll talk about that come 5 o'clock. You're listening to the Zig Zone on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Wake up every weekday with WBGU and The Morning Show. The Morning Show is a community resource for weekly events, news, sports, weather, interviews with community officials and organizations, birthday and anniversary announcements, and more. The Morning Show broadcasts live Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. from the Killeen Center at Bowling Green State University. Listen live every weekday from 6 to 9 a.m. locally on 88.1 FM or streaming online at bgfalconmedia.com. Don't miss The Morning Show on WBGU FM every weekday from 6 to 9 a.m. Join the Morning Show team weekday mornings to hear about local news, local weather reports, community programming, financial market reports, Coach's Show with coaches from BGSU and BGHS, and live news maker interviews. Listen live every weekday from 6 to 9 a.m. locally on 88.1 FM or streaming online at bgfalconmedia.com.
you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Back here in the Zig Zone, WBGU 88.1 FM, Falcon Media Sports Network's live sports talk show. Guess who is atop of the CCHA standings? It's Bowling Green hockey at 17 total points, tied with Bemidji State, who does own the tiebreaker over the Falcons. However, Bowling Green is tied for number one on a team with so much youth that's spurned off of 6 points against Ferris State this weekend at home. Ferris State falls to 1-5 in conference play and 2-10 overall. The Falcons at 4-1-3 in conference play and 4-3-3 overall. Myself, Ben Korak, along with Noah Seeley. Noah, very nice weekend for the Falcons, who were able to come away with 2 wins. They're playing some very good hockey right now as we get into the more meat of the CCHA schedule, and only a couple more weeks before we take that break for Christmas, and then turn of the year comes across sooner than you know it.
Yeah, I mean, talk about an exciting weekend. I mean, 14 goals scored within 2 matches. That's fantastic. I mean, multiple guys had multiple goals. One had a hat trick. I mean, it was just great. It was great overall.
Yeah, the defense definitely needed a rework a bit from the first game, because 9 goals scored for the Falcons, 5 goals scored for Ferris State. Neither goaltender, amazingly enough, was pulled in favor of another goaltender. Both of them suffered. Martin Lundberg for Ferris State suffered 8 goals allowed. Jacob Steinman suffered 5 for the Falcons. Second game, a bit better defensively played, 5-2. Bowling Green won. And an impressive display still for the Falcon offense. 14 goals scored across 2 games. That's enough for pretty much 2 series for a lot of weekends. And they were able to hold Ferris State to only 2 goals. Tyler Palmer had a very nice game in net for the Falcons in the second game. I think that second game was one of the best games played by the Falcons all year, or well-rounded, I should say, and being able to score 5 goals, which is their most of the season, not counting the 9-goal game that they scored in the first game against Ferris State. It's definitely their highest scoring series of the season, and maybe under head coach Dennis Williams. And aside from the defense needing a rework, I think that's a big confidence booster for this Falcons team.
I mean, without a doubt. Coming off of, I mean, you had a loss against Bemidji State. You tied them. You had a loss you tied Minnesota State twice. I mean, you hadn't gotten a win in a little bit, like a true
They hadn't had
win.
a regulation game in a little bit.
Exactly. So it's like to come out here and have those 2 big wins offensively. Obviously, the defense needed a little bit of work after the first match, but it's huge. I mean, it's huge to move in to the rest of the season. You still have, what did you say, 3 weeks left till break?
Yeah, I think 3 weeks left till break, 2 conference games, or 2 conference series until that break comes about. That's their second sweep of the season. Falcon hockey had against Ferris State. Lake Superior State earlier on in the year at Lake State, they had a sweep 4-1 and 3-2 over the Lakers, and Ferris State now they took wins 9-5 and 5-2. Both of those teams are the bottom 2 of the bottom 3 in the CCHA. Before they head to Christmas break, they play Northern Michigan, who is winless on the season and pretty objectively the worst team in the CCHA, so probably should have 2 more wins there. So they're looking good in the beginning of their CCHA schedule. I think the biggest test, Noah, is coming this week against St. Thomas, because St. Thomas is one of the probably top 2 teams in the preseason and coaches poll before the season started. They're a very good team. They have very nice freshmen. They're going to the NCHC next year. They have a brand new arena. A lot of aspects going on in St. Thomas hockey. They're currently 1-1-1 with 3 games played and 3 points. They, I believe, took a win against Augustana this last week. I'm actually going to look it up because they played in the second game. Oh, they had a shootout. Augustana won in the shootout, so they took a point through that. And then had overtime win against Minnesota State. Aside from Minnesota State, one of the top 2 teams that's not Bowling Green or Bemidji. That's a big series.
Yeah,
up in St. Paul.
Without a doubt, and you're going to be coming off of 2 fantastic games, and it really is going to be an electric series in that sense. And it's in Minnesota. Who wouldn't want to watch hockey in Minnesota? And
yeah,
especially with them it being their last year in the CCHA, getting those I mean, obviously it's not a rivalry, but like getting
It's pretty close.
You would say it's pretty close?
I would say it's, yeah. I mean, it's obviously not going to be because
Anymore,
they're leaving, but
it would
I'd
be
say
nice.
over the last couple of years, Bowling Green St. Thomas has been very hot. Very hot games.
It would be nice for it to be a win to close it out. I mean, in that. And back to the sense of like Ferris State and Lake Superior not being like that high in the standings, I would still consider those good wins, right? I mean, because anything in the conference is a good win, and being able to beat teams even that you're not supposed to beat, or beating teams that you're supposed to beat is good. I mean,
yeah, Willie talked about that quite a bit. Head coach Dennis Williams said in his press conference, and he's mentioned it a lot of times, is that there's no bad teams in the CCHA, which I think he's referring to every team but Northern Michigan, because Northern Michigan is not very good. But you look at the other 8 teams, Bemidji, Bowling Green, Michigan Tech, Minnesota State, Augustana, and St. Thomas are all highly competitive. Ferris State, I think, is a better team than they displayed this weekend and have so far. A 2-10 record doesn't represent how they've played on the season. I thought Lake State was going to be a middle-of-the-road team. They haven't played very well. They're still 0-6 in conference, but they've played both Bowling Green, who's at the top of the conference, and Minnesota State, who's one of the top teams for sure. So you're absolutely right, Noah. Everything's so... there's so much parity in the CCHA, maybe the tightest conference that a Bowling Green sport has. For my money, I mean, you can make arguments for women's soccer and men's soccer as well in the MVC, but I think hockey's got it, or at least got that award, if there was one, for the tightest conference to play. And I think this weekend's going to be big up in St. Thomas because, if you're able to just split, you've split with 2 of the top teams. And if you're able to take more points than St. Thomas, say you come away with 4 or 5 points and an overtime game and a regulation win, that's huge. Going into a second half schedule, that's pretty tough. You have a spur there in conference play where you got Bemidji and St. Thomas and Augustana and Minnesota State and Michigan Tech to end your season. And those are all top teams. I mean, every team you could argue is a top team, but they're all top teams.
Yeah, based off of points.
The
and
wins
stuff.
now matter.
Yeah, and not only like they matter, but it gives you momentum. And the more momentum you have, the better you'll play. Yeah. I mean, if you have the momentum anyways, you're going to play good against them. So who cares how good they are, as long as you're playing as good as you can play. Because you know that we can easily be the best team in the CCHA.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, as long as you're playing as good as you can, it doesn't matter who you face. You're going to beat them, assuming you play as good as you can.
Yeah. Biggest things to mention also from the weekend, a couple of very nice individual performances. One of them, the main one actually, Noah Morneau, who I think prematurely won Rookie of the Week. He scored 2 goals against Minnesota State, who was the number 16 team in the nation at the time. He scored 2 goals in the first game. I believe a game-tying goal is one that he registered as well to bring it 4-4 and force a tie. He's tied for the lead in the CCHA in total goals with 7 because he scored 4 this last weekend. He scored a hat trick in the first game against Ferris State, and he had one also in the second game against Ferris State. He's also in the lead for goals per game with 7 in 10 games. The other guys that have 7 have them in 11, 12, and 14. That's Alex Gaffney of St. Thomas, Josh Zeri, who Morneau played against this weekend, Ferris State, and then Oliver Peer, who's, I believe, a junior for Bemidji State in his first season with Bemidji. So Morneau is one of the leaders in goals, which is nice for the Falcons to have a rookie up there at that mark. Also in assists per game, Quinn Emerson, who plays on that line with Noah Morneau, has 9 assists in 10 games played. That's second in the CCHA in assists per game. Breck McKinley also up pretty high for the Falcons, 8th on that list, as well as Tyler Hodson, who is tied for 8th with Breck McKinley. So the Falcons assisting quite a bit as well. And then in total points, Noah Morneau, Quinn Emerson, and Tyler Hodson all top 20 for the Falcons in total points per game. So some very good performances from the Falcons. I think Morneau is finally going to be a breakthrough player for the Falcons if he's able to stay a couple of years, especially because BG just doesn't really have a range goal scorer. And that's kind of what Noah Morneau is his goals were scored some in front of the blue paint, but also taking some pretty range shots. And goal scoring has been something that the Falcons have lacked for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he's able to get those, if he can knock down as many of those as he possibly can, he's going to be great. He's going to be fantastic. And especially with him being as young as he is, being a freshman, he has so much ahead of him. So especially being able to break out this early in the season, I mean, he has the whole rest of this season. And who knows how far the team goes this season, let alone the rest of the time he's here, assuming he stays.
Yeah, another one to mention, that first line has been unbelievable. Dom Ryman as well does so many things away from the puck, but he contributed 5 points this weekend, 2 goals and 3 assists with just 1 assist in the second game. But he's played fantastic. He's played with Morneau and Emerson on that first line. It's so nice for the Falcons to have that first line that's just unreal for them. I don't think goaltending was great this weekend, mainly because you had that 5-goal first game, which was an anomaly, I think, for Jacob Steinman in goal. But you have 3 very solid options in Cole Moore, Jacob Steinman, and Tyler Palmer, so that'll work itself out. All around, there's really not a weak spot of this team. I mean, it's coming off of a very positive weekend against a team that's struggled so far this season, but their offense was good. Their defense was pretty solid, especially in the second game, and they made nice adjustments from game 1 to game 2. Their goaltending was solid in game 2 especially. I mean, you mentioned how this St. Thomas series is going to be big. I just like the way this team is playing. I could definitely see them coming away with more than 3 points and more than a split.
That would be, I know we want a split, but it would be so ideal if you can get both. I mean, it would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, any points above 3.
Yeah,
just win the weekend.
It would push you higher up in those rankings. I mean, you're already 1, but it would give you like that jump.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to sweep teams all the time.
No.
I mean, you just have to, especially in series, which is different than, men's basketball, women's basketball, where they don't use points, and soccer's where they do use points. Is that in series you don't have to win both games, you just have to win the weekend. 6 points available. If you take 4 every weekend, you're going to be in good shape. Like, you're going to be one of the top 4 teams because you're making sure that other teams, no teams are beating you. And that's what the Falcons have kind of done so far this season. They've taken a point in every game, and they've taken 2 or more points in every series. The worst one probably being the Bemidji State series, which they still took 2 points in, but had a shootout loss and an overtime loss on Halloween and the day after. But they're on... they're still riding out a point streak. They're on a 3-game win streak now with 2+ points in each of their last 3 games. And they head into St. Thomas this weekend at St. Paul, Minnesota, November 21st, November 22nd. The first game at 8:07 p.m., the second game at 7:07 p.m. Nathan Burkett from the Falcon Media Sports Network will be up there in St. Paul, and he'll have the broadcast. I believe Friday will be on WBGU 88.1 FM. Actually, both of them will be on WBGU 88.1 FM. Women's basketball is going to be on Falcon Radio on Friday, and Saturday should be fine for those games. So from St. Paul, Minnesota, be sure to tune in to Nathan Burkett in the pregame show 25 minutes prior to game time. Noah, we'll move into our discussion now about men's and women's basketball, who they didn't... neither one of them took a win this weekend, and yet still feeling pretty positive about the landing spot of both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not wins, but moral victories, I would say, in the least. I mean, men's basketball goes down to Davidson. Has a tight game, 91-87. We had people go down there, Falcon Media Sports Network's very own. Yeah,
we did. We had, I don't remember exactly who the combination of that went down, but Tyler Kavlitz, Artie Abrego, 2 of our beats. I believe...
Foster Rostai and
also
Artie,
went down, and Henry went down to film some as well. And I think broadcast will be posted. It was not live, but I think live to tape broadcast will be posted at the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel as well. We'll talk about men's first. Davidson 91-87 victory for Davidson down in the Carolinas. They're undefeated, so this is a team that's really not bad for the Falcons. And there was a big performance by Josiah Shackelford, who had 23 points, 3 steals, 6 rebounds, and an assist. He outplayed Javante Campbell, which is a heck of a feat considering how good Javante Campbell's been in his time at Bowling Green, and especially this season. And Josiah Shackelford, the guard, somehow played better.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's a hard thing to do. It's hard to play better than Campbell. But I think what's nice about this Bowling Green team is that can happen, and it's still going to be a good game. Like, even if Javonte does not play as well, which he actually did not play that bad. He still had 21 points and did everything he could. But even if Javonte does not play as well as expected, you can have guys like Shackelford and Towns and Wool come out and play good, and you can still compete and most likely win majority of the games. Because, I mean, Davidson is a very good program.
Yeah. Yeah, Mayor Wool, also an impressive game. Everything's going to also look impressive in this game. And a credit to the Falcons, they're able to score a ton of points, 38 in the first half and 49 in the second half, scored almost 90 total. Not a lot of defense being played between Davidson and Bowling Green, but Mayor Wool had 16 points. Sam Towns had 16 on 6 for 14 from the field and 1 for 4 from 3. 21 points for Javonte Campbell, 23 for Josiah Shackelford, who was 2 for 3 from three-point range. I was not too impressed with the defense, and I think the main piece of that was Troy Glover. I thought he was going to be a very solid defender, and I think he still will be. He only played 13 minutes, didn't really play too well in my opinion, only took 3 field goals, made 1 of them, did not take a personal foul, and did not get a rebound. And while fouls aren't something you want to have too many of, I think a foul is like a sign of playing tenacious defense.
Yeah.
And especially for a big man, like, hack somebody.
Yeah, at some point.
And he just was not able to do so. Didn't play too great defensively. Mayor Wool, I felt like, played fine, although he got in foul trouble. Javonte Campbell and Sam Towns also got foul trouble as well. So I just wasn't too impressed with the defense. I thought a lot of reaching, not a lot of moving of feet for a team that's pretty athletic.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing that you can say about defense is the fact that Javonte Campbell only had 2 steals kind of shows that it wasn't a very defensive-led game, because obviously he's going to come out there and he's going to average a lot more than 2 steals a night. So for him to only have 2 steals, it kind of shows there wasn't much defense being played.
Yeah, overall, not a bad game. It's just that's something that last season, I wasn't too concerned with the defense because, you know, you had Jemai Felt, who was blocking like crazy. I think he was in the running for one of the Defensive Player of the Year spots, or All-MAC Defensive Team or something like that. Javonte Campbell also had we know how good of a defensive year he had. A ton of steals, don't know the exact figure, but he's a defensive menace at the guard position, can really guard anybody on the floor that's probably under 6'8", which is a great thing to have on your team. Clearly the offense is there. It's just surprisingly enough, the defense, which is an effort thing, wasn't there, at least against Davidson. And the team hasn't played poorly so far. Just been a lot of points given up. You know, you give up 60 to Lemoyne, you give up 65 to Bethany College. You played very well against Texas State. Were able to hold them down. You know, Dayton and Michigan State, relative scoring games, they were fine. Davidson is historically high scoring, I believe. 91 is still a lot of points. Yeah. And 60 given up to Lemoyne, where I don't even know where Lemoyne is from. That's probably too many points to be given up. It'd be nice to see some more defense in the next couple of games.
Yeah, and that's the good thing, Ben, is that it's so early in the season.
Yeah.
You're able to make those changes, and especially because assuming it is an effort problem, like you had mentioned. Like,
well, I hope it's not an effort problem.
What do you mean?
I mean, I hope it's not just that the team's not giving effort.
Yeah, you're right.
But
yes.
I also have confidence that Todd Simon would be able to.
That's what I was going to say. If it is, he can easily fix that. That is something you can easily fix. I would say if it's that, you're fine. Or if it's something like defensively, like scheme wise, you can fix that. Those are things that you can fix. I would much rather have this defensive problem than not be able to score, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Not being able to run the offense and score points, that would be really bad.
Yeah, that is very true. Also, things offensively, you were able to score 87 points. 3-point shooting percentage in total was you're 3 for 14, just 21%, which is not fantastic. Although you don't have great 3-point shooters, would have been nice to see Josiah Shackelford, who had a hot hand, take a couple of more. He only had 3. Yeah. Sam Towns, I think, is kind of riding off of that Michigan State game where he had a lot of 3-point success, and since then, maybe a little bit less. He was 2 for 6 in the last game he played against Lemoyne, 1 for 3 before that against Bethany. So he's been able to make them, but not at a very stellar rate. And again, he's a big man, and on a game that was lacking in defense, I'd rather kind of see him in the paint.
Yeah, 100%. Towns is one guy that I do want to see play a lot better. then I mean, obviously 16 points is great.
Yeah, he
but
didn't play bad.
I think that should be his standard. Like, I think that should be his floor. It's like 14 to 16 points. I think he could be a huge part for this team. So that's what I hope he does from now on. But I hope he can play defense as well. And the other thing is, being in foul trouble does not help him, and he happens to do it a lot. He's in foul trouble way more than he should be.
Yeah, just by threat, of playing down low for him and Sam Towns. A little bit of shallowness in the big men, maybe, or at least that's how it's been shown so far. Troy Glover, very athletic, a nice big man. Sam Towns as well, a nice big man that can play both on the perimeter and the interior. Mayor Wool, maybe he's just sneaky. Maybe he just looks and plays taller than he is. He is 6'8", so he is quite tall. But he's not really a big man.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see another big man kind of get active a little bit more. I know Aiden Goins isn't going to contribute too much defensively. Didn't really contribute too much at all against Davidson. 4 minutes for 2 total points. It's just, what do you do if Troy Glover or Sam Towns gets in foul trouble?
Yeah.
Sam Towns had 5 fouls against Davidson. What do you do if he gets 3 in the first half? Or you have to manage him, and then you're playing a small lineup.
Yeah, it gets tough.
If you run into a team with good size, like not even great size, just good size, you might be struggling in the paint a bit defensively.
Yeah, and that's another thing where it's kind of wonky to me from this Davidson game that you see Towns has 5 personal fouls, but for some reason Troy Glover only had 13 minutes, and especially not having any fouls. Because you'd assume if your starter's only playing 13 minutes, he had to have gotten in foul trouble. Like, that would be my assumption. So to not be in foul trouble at all and only have played 13 minutes, along with your partner having 5 personal fouls, I mean, it's really interesting to me.
Yeah. I knew when the game was going on, but I honestly forget now whether Preston Squire and Camden Carroll were available to the team and whether they were able to play against Davidson. Neither one of them saw the floor. I believe Squire is still injured. He had a hand injury.
Yes.
I believe. Don't know when his timetable is. That's another large body and a pretty versatile large body that could be out there as well. I don't know how well I trust Mayor Wool as an interior forward. He just doesn't seem to have enough width.
I could see that.
Troy Glover's big, width-wise, he's just a big guy. Sam Towns obviously taller and he's got defensive capability. Mayor Wool looks very impressive scoring-wise, especially. He was 5 for 11, 0 for 3 from three-point range, but he shot free throws pretty well, and he drew fouls pretty well as well, and took a couple of rebounds. As just, forward centers seem to be a recurring theme that there's been some struggles for this team, especially in foul trouble and maybe some depth. Hopefully, when Preston Squire gets back. And
I think one of the most interesting things to see about that is that we've always, I feel like BG has always prided themselves on their defense, at least in the previous years. So to have that not be a staple so far this year is very interesting to me, especially because you have Javonte Campbell on your team, and you just can't really just assume that it's going to be a good defensively led game. Yeah, that was the main thing I was excited for this season, was to see a more defensive team. I was really excited about Troy Glover, and we're how many games in? 4 games in. 1, 2, no. Yeah, 4 games in, not counting exhibition. It's based off what we've seen, and it's really early to say. But it's just, was expecting a little bit more defensively out of Glover and maybe out of Towns as well. A pretty solid amount of rebounds for the Falcons, 33 total, 13 offensive and 20 defensive. A pretty nice ratio of offensive to defensive rebounds as well. Yeah. You like to get those offensive boards, especially when you have Sam Towns and Troy Glover, who did only score 2 points, but on putbacks especially. Mayor Wool's pretty decent in the paint as well. So I don't know how Josiah Shackelford got 3 offensive rebounds. I mean, I guess not in the paint, crashing in from the 3-point line, but maybe following up on his own shots seems odd to me. Also rare to see Javonte Campbell not leading the Falcons in steals. Justin Thomas had 4, and Josiah Shackelford had 3. And Javonte Campbell was tied with Mayor Wool for 2. Yeah, like I mentioned a little bit ago, it's knowing that it was not a very good defensive-led game, that's exactly why. He only had 2 steals. And I know it's only. I mean, 2 steals is actually a lot.
Only 2 steals.
But, like, for him, 2 is nothing. Like, he should be getting 4 to 5 every game.
Yeah, 36 minutes of play for Javonte, 21 points, still not bad. And he's a facilitator of the offense. He's very good at what he does. That's his lowest steal total of the season so far. He had 4 and 5 against Texas State and Bethany, and then 8 against Lemoyne. Obviously, a record-breaking number there for the Falcons, and then 2 in the last game. But he's had 20 points each of the last 3 games as well, and he's contributed to the rebounding and contributed to the passing game as well as Javonte Campbell. So, we look forward for this men's basketball team and their non-conference schedule before they get into MAC play. William and Mary comes up this week, Wednesday, November 19th at 7 p.m. 25 minutes prior to game time, we'll have a pregame show, and then we'll have a broadcast as well on Falcon Radio for Bowling Green men's basketball against William and Mary from the Stroh Center. And then after that, the team goes down to Fort Myers. They'll play in Fort Myers, Florida against Bucknell and Virginia Military Institute, it looks like.
Yeah.
Not overly impressed with the non-conference competition this year. I love the exhibition competition.
Yeah.
Love to see Michigan State and Dayton. Maybe I'm just spoiled by a lot of Bowling Green teams having insanely difficult non-conference schedules.
I think that we are kind of spoiled by having such good non-conference play.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the thing is, even though it's exhibition, still being able to face those Michigan States and those Daytons are good.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I know they probably weren't facing their whole lineup, but playing them in general is helpful. So it's like, I know we don't have as strong as a non-conference as we wanted, but being able to build up those wins is also nice.
They do have their next most difficult game, I would say, is Kansas State. That's a Big 12 program in Manhattan, Kansas. That's on December 1st, Monday, December 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Assuming we will not have a broadcast for that. That's
you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
With them going to North
Tyler
Carolina.
Marty. They did go to North Carolina for Davidson.
Yeah.
And that's coming up after the Fort Myers tip-off with it, which is next Monday. Not this Monday, tomorrow, next Monday and next Wednesday down in Florida. I am laying money on the air that they will not go down to Florida, though.
Oh,
I don't think they will not go down to Florida. But
Thanksgiving, they will.
I guess you'll never know. It is 2 games down in Florida, so that's what's coming up for Bowling Green men's basketball here on the Zig Zone. We'll talk about women's basketball right now. We previewed them a bit before. They had 2 games in Wisconsin, one in Madison against Wisconsin and a loss by 12 points to the Badgers, and then one in Marquette, Wisconsin against Marquette. And they lost by 16 points to Marquette, and 2 games where they were pretty tight and felt like they could have even been even tighter. Both of those games in Wisconsin. Adam Duffin had both the calls on one on WBGU 88.1 FM, the other on Falcon Radio, but. Two very nice games for the women's basketball team and very difficult competition.
Yeah, and I mean, you want to talk about us being blessed with good non-conference play.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
All the way back to South Carolina, Wisconsin, and Marquette.
Louisiana, South Carolina, Wisconsin, Marquette.
I mean, fantastic non-conference schedule. I mean, does it kind of hurt morale that you're not winning those games? Maybe. I mean, there's a possibility. But I think in the sense, keeping Wisconsin within 12 and still playing a good game against
I think
Marquette.
that also helps. I was going to say it might help morale
I
a
think
little bit
it
more,
should. It
considering
should.
you played so well against a Big Ten team, one of the more bottom Big Ten teams, but still a team that should have far better talent than you, and you played very well against them.
Yeah,
I know. I am famously, any Falcon Media Sports Network members listening, famously a huge Janaea Donahue guy. She had 24 points in the first game, I know, for Wisconsin. And the second game that was played in Wisconsin against Marquette, Janaea Donahue had 16. So, like...
doing her job.
Come on now. We love Janaea Donahue and how she's played so far. Paige Kohler, a little bit quiet in that second game. She did only have 7 points on 35 minutes played, was 3 for 16 from the field and 1 for 8 from 3. They were defending her very harsh. But that did open up the floor a little bit more for a couple of other people. Kaya Woods, Janiah Bland Fitzpatrick, Emily Cecil each had 6+ points from that game against Marquette. The Marquette game wasn't as well played, it felt like, as the Wisconsin game, because the Falcons were within probably 5 at points during the Wisconsin game, and it even felt like a couple of bad turnovers for Wisconsin could flip the script totally. Obviously, was not able to come away with the win, but very solid performances all around.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost the first quarter by 4, lost the second quarter by 3, lost the third quarter by 1, and the fourth quarter by 2. So it was just kind of Wisconsin being able to hold just ahead of them for the entire game.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the difference between a MAC opponent and a Big Ten opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to hold that is fantastic. And I think one thing that we should probably talk about is Paige Kohler having those being defended like that nights, because it's going to happen more than just this one time. Like, she's going to be defended like that a lot this season. So it's not always going to be her scoring. She's going to have to be able to facilitate and find Donahue and find Ellis and just pass this ball around.
Yeah, it was also nice in the Wisconsin game to see the season debut of Kaya Woods, who I believe was injured coming in to the year. She didn't play very well against Marquette. She did only have 7 points against Marquette in 23 minutes played. I just liked, she's a little bit smaller. She's only 5'3", and a transfer from Akron, where she didn't play last year. Before that, played at Washington State. I just like, she's so dribble drive, and she draws fouls, and she's kind of like little and sneaky. I just really like the way she plays, and what she adds to the team that was kind of lacking a true dribble drive. Jenna Donahue, I believe, is listed as a guard, definitely more of a forward, I'd say, in the way she plays, but she can also handle the ball relatively well. Paige Kohler, definitely a guard and definitely a perimeter guard.
Yeah.
I just, at 5'3", it's impressive, but even just having a dribble drive and a different depth to your offense is very nice to have from Kaya Woods.
Well, yeah, and I think especially like you were talking about, we have a lot of those bigger, like they're a lot taller. They know how to get into the paint. But having Woods out there, just to even if it is, I know you said she's a dribble drive, but even being able to just be out there and have that different size advantage, and that side, I would consider it an advantage at sometimes. Like being able to just get around the trees, it's useful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for, like, when you used to play 8th grade basketball, the kid that was little as all get out would torch everybody, because you just, like, you're asking kids that were 5'11" to reach down and guard this kid that's,
it's hard,
5'1", 5'2". So something to be said about that, but also not to take away from how athletic she is and how great she played. She did make free throws at a pretty solid pace, drew a pretty good amount of them as well, in the first game especially, and just, it's depth to have when you can just give the ball to one of your players and just say go. Just go drive.
Yeah.
Just go drive and get a bucket, because that's what Isaiah Thomas did. That's what Allen Iverson did. That's what a bunch of great basketball players have been able to do, is just drive and get a bucket somehow.
Yeah.
And hopefully she turns into that, and hopefully that's what it will add more depth to this Falcon team.
Yeah, you need that sometimes out of teams, especially like we just talked about. With Kohler being guarded the way that she has been, you need someone that could just take that pressure off her and go. Because you're not going to find that. Obviously, you have the bigs, but you're not going to find help for Kohler through the bigs, because if she can't get the ball to the bigs, how's it going to happen? So being able to have Woods up there, it's huge.
Yeah, also look, we mentioned free throws there too. You look to the free throws. First night against Wisconsin, 20 for 22. They drew a good amount of fouls, and they made free throws at a very consistent pace, which is good for a team that played within 12 of Wisconsin, that when you get into MAC play, not only are they going to be able to play tight or maybe even be favored in some of those games, but also, they're not going to kill themselves by just not making free throws from the line. Because I know as somebody that watches basketball quite a bit, like how many games can you look to and say, well, if you had just made 2 more free throws?
There's a difference, yeah.
I mean, the difference always comes down to free throws in some way, and when you go 20 for 22, you can't really say that it was free throws.
And I mean, to look at that too, like we talked about, kind of feeling like BG played Wisconsin a little bit better. If you look at Marquette's game, they were 12 of 18 from the line, not drawing as many and making less.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it does truly make a difference. I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference in the Marquette game winning or losing, but it would have made a difference in how they looked at it afterwards. I mean, it would be no different than the Wisconsin game.
Second game, not as strong for the Falcons. 12 for 18 from the free throw line, but still, not bad. Jenna Donahue went 4 for 5. She went 8 for 8 on the game before, so she has a very solid percentage, and on a larger body that can handle the ball very well and really move and really drive. I mean, I I just cannot stress enough how much I liked watching her play, just affecting literally every piece of the game. Also 6 steals and 24 points, along with 6 rebounds and 6 assists on the first game against Wisconsin. And then 16, 4, and 3 in the second game. Didn't have any steals, but played solid defense.
I think that's one thing that we can talk about with women's basketball is they have a very interesting difference in players. Like Paige Kohler, obviously, she's a guard. She can dribble, but she can also shoot she can shoot the lights out of the gym. Then Lauren Gherkin, more of a big, fully, she goes in the paint. But then Janae Donahue can kind of do both. And having that difference between Donahue, Kohler, Woods, Gherkin, it makes it for an interesting offense and defense for that matter. But it's nice to have those different options where you don't always have to say, okay, we're going to the paint every time, or okay, we're going to shoot threes for the whole game and miss half of them.
Yeah. The only thing I do feel like they are missing, especially from their starting lineup, Taya Ellis, definitely a forward. Kyra Miller in the starting lineup is a guard. Paige Kohler is a guard. Janae Donahue is a 3 forward or a guard, depending on how you look at it. Yeah. Lauren Gherkin was probably your center on the floor, and she's still definitely a forward. So you're lacking something you had last year in Erica Porter, which was a powerful presence in the paint, which you don't come across all the time. But having somebody like that, which talking to Lucas Kleinmeyer in our pregame show of Wisconsin, Jaden Cook could definitely be that, although she did only have 9 minutes against Wisconsin, and she only had 6 minutes against Marquette. She's a bigger body, kind of plays like that too. Yeah. If she can figure that out, that'll be a nice piece to have. And really, I feel like that's the only thing missing.
Yeah.
Someone that's from the women's basketball team is just. I mean, both basketball teams. We talked about size for men's as well, but having, if you added Erica Porter to this team, I mean, how much. Janae Donahue doing what she's doing, Paige Kohler at the perimeter, Kaya Woods hopefully will turn into a dribble drive type player. I mean, that's
you could have seen a Wisconsin win. I mean, you could have
maybe
because especially playing against a Big Ten opponent where probably they had a little bit bigger size or athletic advantage over us. I mean, she could have been the difference.
Yeah, like I mentioned, they only lost by 12, and that seems like a lot, but 4 in the first quarter, as I mentioned, 3 in the second, 1 in the third. You had a chance of winning that, and then only 2 in the fourth quarter. And then actually against Marquette, they won the second quarter 19-14, played better than Marquette, but the first and the third quarter kind of killed them a little bit because they were 15-8 in favor of Marquette and then 22-12 in favor of Marquette. So not a consistent game throughout against Marquette. I think if they play like they did against Wisconsin going forward, they're going to be in really good shape. They do go up to Alaska this coming weekend, Friday and Saturday. They play UC Irvine up in Anchorage, Alaska, and then they play either St. Thomas or Alaska Anchorage on Saturday, the 22nd, at either 9:15 or 11:30 p.m.
I mean, imagine
somebody's
being
gonna have
on
to board up that 11:30 p.m.
and studio analyst.
Maybe, yeah. That's rough. That's as close to midnight as we'll ever get. I mean, you're gonna get home at 1:30 from board hopping that game. That's something right there. And then after that Alaska trip, they have Purdue, Fort Wayne, Kentucky State, Defiance, Lords, and Lemoyne before their first MAC game at the Stroh Center here in Bowling Green against Kent State. The next game that will be played at home is Purdue Fort Wayne on Sunday, November 30th in the Stroh Center. I'm sure we'll have a broadcast of that game taking place at 2 p.m. and we'll probably run into our Zig Zone show that will happen that you are listening to right now, and that goes on at 4 p.m. Every Sunday while school is in session. So next game for Bowling Green women's basketball against UC Irvine in Anchorage, Alaska, on Friday, November 21st at 9:15 p.m. That will do it for the Revenue sports here. We talked about volleyball, football, hockey, women's basketball, men's basketball. Noah, we have a lot going on. Volleyball and football, the only two that are kind of wrapping up their season. Football season is basically over. Volleyball their season will most likely be done this week or next week if they end up winning and making the national tournament. But the sports that are starting right now, men's, women's basketball, hockey that we've seen a couple of games for now, just what do you feel most confident in?
Well, I mean,
going forward? I
feel like we talked about it right off the rip. You're the hockey guy. I think that hockey really does have that chance to be the best team out of the winter sports. And I think I wish it was somehow men's basketball, because I think Javonte Campbell is probably the best player for the past couple years of this team. I think he deserves a good season, and like a really good one that puts him to the MAC tournament, does all this stuff. But I just don't see that happening. I don't see him getting to that point. Yeah, I think hockey is the sport.
Yeah, I really like the way men's basketball is put together. I think if they can get the pieces all together, like if they can get, Troy Glover to start being a defensive menace and add some points, if you get Sam Towns to contribute to both ends of the floor.
It's if they can play as a team. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to team. And that was the struggle last year for the men's basketball team too, aside from injuries, which also plagued them quite a bit, was, playing, 5 guys on the floor that were contributing highly on both ends.
Yeah, and it kind of felt like last year's, it wasn't a team. It didn't feel like they were working together. And I feel like this team could do it. I really hope they do, but I just think hockey has the best chance.
Yeah. And conversely, on the women's soccer or the women's basketball side, feels like they have much more talent this year.
Yeah,
I like the talent that they have a bit better than last year. They returned a good bit of it. They didn't lose, too much. I mean, considering you lost Amy Velasco and Lexi Fleming and Erica Porter, I feel like the team's still in a pretty good spot, although they sit at 1-3. I think they're put together very well. They have enough talent to win. And I do feel like at any given time they have at least 4 players on the floor that contribute both ends, which is very nice to have.
And I think the biggest thing for that, though, is if they can figure out how to run their offense when Kohler's getting double-teamed.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've harped on that every single time. But, like, that's going to be the big difference. If they can figure that out, they could go to crazy heights.
Yeah, that's true. And especially when you're leaving Jenna Donahue that, wide open to work the way she does. Yeah. But I also feel the most confident in hockey, especially after this weekend. But I think the confidence will go through the roof if they're able to win the St. Thomas weekend. If they're able to take 4 points away from St. Thomas out of the 6, St. Thomas is a team that was projected to be top 2, is probably one of the top, definitely a top 4 team. Probably one of the top 2. If you're able to, win the weekend or at least split with them, you'd have split with Minnesota State and St. Thomas, which are the 2 powerhouses, and you're going to be in a really good spot for the CCHA tournament, and you'll just be able to handle business the rest of the way, and especially with the knowledge for a young team that you can beat anybody. That was the second hour that we had, hockey, men's basketball, and women's basketball. Our upcoming broadcasts for the Falcon Media Sports Network. We talked about football second today. They play Akron at home on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Sean Connolly, Tyler Kavlitz on Falcon Radio at 6:35 for the pregame show, and then Sean and Tyler will go on sometime closer to 7. Noah, prediction for that game against Akron?
I mean,
not that it
matters. Yeah, I know. I do think that Bowling Green will come out and they'll get the win, just because I think Eddie George is gonna probably have had enough of the losing. And I think especially with it being the last home game of the season, I know there's not going to be not too many fans in there, but I think just being able to get a win at home would be nice, especially outside of just the Toledo game.
Yeah, also a week removed from having some legal happenings happening with your players, and also you've played a week without your offensive coordinator that you played the rest of the season with. You fired him, played Eastern Michigan game without him, and now you're probably going to be more confident coming into this one, especially at home, having a week and a couple days to prepare, because you didn't have to play Saturday. You just have to play Tuesday, and then they play the Tuesday after that. So football at home Tuesday night at 7. Tune in at 6:35 to Falcon Radio, streaming at bgfalconmedia.com. Men's basketball will play the day after on Wednesday at 7 p.m. against William and Mary in the Stroh Center. Noah,
yeah,
you're going to be on that call.
I am, play-by-play.
Yeah, nice. Is that first one for basketball?
Yeah, first one for basketball.
Dude, congratulations. That'll be a blast. Dawson Pelter will be your color guy that game. Pre-game show at 6:35 from Falcon Radio Studios here in the Cooling Center. Again, Falcon Radio streaming on bgfalconmedia.com. What can you tell us about that game, Noah, between men's basketball and William and Mary?
I can tell you that there's a good chance it's going to look pretty similar to the games we've seen at the Stroh so far this season for men's basketball. I can say that it's probably going to be a lot of defensive play by the Falcons. I would say after having that struggle against Davidson, I expect another 5 or 6 steals from Campbell. I'm expecting close to 90 points for us and 60 for them. That's what I wanted. And I think that that's going to happen. I think it'll be a good bounce back from Davidson, even though I wouldn't consider it a bounce back, but it'll be a win.
True. Still an earlier and easier part of the season for men's basketball. William and Mary at home at 7. Make sure to tune in to Noah and Dawson at 7 o'clock for that game on Falcon Radio, streaming at bgfalconmedia.com. Volleyball as well will start the MAC volleyball tournament this Friday at 4 p.m. That's when the games start. Bowling Green plays at 7 p.m. on Friday against Ohio. Myself and Andrew Smith, I believe, will be on the call at 7 p.m. on Falcon Radio, streaming at bgfalconmedia.com, because hockey will be going on. WBGU will get to that in a second. Before we get into the rest of the MAC games and when they will be, Noah, what do you think about that Bowling Green and Ohio game in the MAC tournament?
Well, I mean, for starters, we talked about Falcon Media Sports Network being busy this weekend. That's going to be why, having 6 matches for volleyball. But I do think, like we had mentioned earlier in the show, Bowling Green's going to take this game. Yeah. I think they barely snuck into the tournament, but I think that they easily have the advantage against the Bobcats. I think they should easily take this match, be able to go into semifinals. Yeah.
Falcon Media Sports Network will have coverage of all of the matches of the MAC tournament. I believe we'll have a broadcast for all of them. Definitely the championship, definitely the Bowling Green ones, depending on where they're going to be, whether it's this station, WBGU 88.1 FM, or Falcon Radio, streaming at bgfalconmedia.com. 4 p.m. on Friday will be Toledo and Miami. 7 p.m. on Friday will be Bowling Green and Ohio. And then Ball State versus the winner of Toledo and Miami, 4 p.m. on Saturday. Western Michigan versus the winner of Bowling Green and Ohio at 7 p.m. on Saturday. And then the championship will take place 4 p.m. on Sunday between one of the 6 teams in the field. Hopefully Bowling Green's in it, but you never know. The season's gone kind of wonky, and crazy stuff can happen in the tournament as well. As we mentioned before, Bowling Green will play 7 p.m. on Friday. Myself, Andrew Smith, on the call at 7 p.m. Be sure to tune into Falcon Radio for that. Hockey also on Friday, 8:07, and Saturday at 7:07. They play at St. Thomas and St. Paul at the brand new Lee and Penny Anderson Arena in St. Paul. It's brand spanking new, and it's the last time that we'll have a broadcast from St. Paul for St. Thomas, because they're moving to the NCHC, unless the Falcons play them in non-conference play or something in the coming years. But both of those games, 8:07 Friday, 7:07 Saturday, will be on WBGU 88.1 FM, this station, which is your home for Falcon hockey throughout the entire year this year. And then women's basketball plays Friday and Saturday at 9:15 p.m. Saturday, either 9:15 or 11:30. And those games are so late because they are in Alaska. I believe both are in Anchorage, Alaska, both broadcast by Lucas Kleinmeyer up there in Alaska with the women's basketball team. The first game on Falcon Radio, and then the second game, either WBGU or Falcon Radio. We will have updates on BG_FMSN on Twitter X and on BGFalconMedia.com for the previews and recaps of those, or just the previews of those games, but also recaps will be published. And again, busy week this week for the Falcon Media Sports Network, but everything written-wise will be on BGFalconMedia.com or BG_FMSN on Twitter X. So that's our upcoming broadcast for the Falcon Media Sports Network. As we wrap up our Zig Zone today on this Sunday, November 16th, Noah Seeley and myself, Ben Korak, here in the studio. One more question, and this is a sports-related one, but not... kind of Bowling Green sports related, but not really. If you could only watch one of college athletics or pro athletics for the rest of your life, the other one just does not exist. You only get to watch one. Which one would you choose?
So, like each sport, or like in general?
Yeah, you get to watch all the sports, but it has to be college.
One or the other. Oh,
yeah.
So if I can only watch NFL, MLB, NBA, or I could only watch
or an NHL, or you get to watch any college sport.
That's tough.
I mean, I guess college lacrosse counts as well.
Well, I think
like the 4 major.
It's tough because, in my opinion, college basketball is way better than NBA. Like, without a doubt. Nothing beats that.
I agree.
And I think Foster would agree with me, and he'd be happy that I said that.
Yes, Foster would be very happy.
But in the same sense, I really, I'm not going to watch college baseball in comparison to the way that I don't watch MLB as much as I should, but I would much rather watch MLB than college baseball.
Yes.
And then I think the deciding factor would be football. I'm not a big hockey guy, but I would assume, I don't know how you would. What would you say for hockey?
Yeah, this is why it's so tough for me, is because there's an electricity around all of college sports like aside from college baseball, I'm a huge baseball guy, and that's probably why I would choose pro, just for the baseball point of view, because like over half the year there's baseball, so
That's
you'd be
true.
missing out on over half the year, whereas college is just in the spring, and then in the summer there's nothing college.
Yeah.
So that's why pro, at least for me. But also like the football is better in the NFL, but the atmosphere of college is better.
Like imagine
and
missing
the
out.
basketball is better in college, and the atmosphere is better in college. The NHL, the hockey is better in the NHL, but like the atmosphere is better in college, unless it's playoffs. So like it's so tough to say. Like, I would rather do one over the other.
That's why I feel like if you went by sport, it would be like I'd be able to do it if it was by sport. If it was by sport, football's the toughest one, but we'll get past football for now. Basketball, obviously you're going college basketball.
Yeah.
Baseball, you're obviously going MLB. Hockey, I would assume I'm gonna go with professional. I don't watch it too much, but I would assume you would too. So then it goes back to NFL and college football, and I'm like my favorite team, like in general football, Ohio State. Like that's who I am. Like that, I'm not. I love the Browns. I'll die being a Browns fan.
Yeah.
But I would much rather watch an 11-0 Buckeyes team
you'll
than
die without a championship too, most likely.
I mean, I just saw a championship for Ohio State.
Yeah, it's
easily,
true.
You know what? You're right. It's easily college football for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just so tough when you say like you can't choose an individual sport.
Yeah, when you can't choose an
like,
individual.
I would give up the NBA in a heartbeat for college basketball.
Oh yeah,
100%.
So
110%.
So basically, it's what are you willing to give up, NFL or college basketball? At that point,
yeah.
Right? I mean,
Pretty
that's
much.
what it is.
I mean, I think hockey's a wash. Just being a fan of both. Like, there's electricity in college hockey, but like NHL, like the playoffs rock.
Yeah.
Four Nations face-off this last year rocked. That was so sick. You know, you get to see better. Like the hockey is just better. Like it's more talented guys. It's guys that like have careers and are playing for money, and like the Stanley Cup, which is it's not like college sports playing for a chance at a Stanley. A chance at the skin.
But you still have the electricity in college. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like
100%.
It's still there.
It's all the atmosphere. It's all the atmosphere.
Yeah. That's tough. That's
so
a tough
hockey's
question.
a wash for me. Baseball's a plus to pro.
Yeah.
Because as much as college baseball's cool, college World Series is very cool. It's just not.
Yeah.
And the length of time that college baseball runs is just not
ideal.
Not close.
That's
to
fair.
That of MLB. Football, it's tough for me too because like I know. So obviously here, everybody's an Ohio State fan, or almost everybody.
Really?
And back home, a lot of people are diehard U of M, Michigan State. I follow Michigan State. I really like Michigan State. I'm not like a diehard fan.
Yeah.
Like not to the level you are of Ohio State, of Michigan State. So it's tough for me for football because I don't like.
You could go NFL. And
like
be
my
whatever.
Saturdays do not ride necessarily on what MSU does.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, like cool.
They gotta
MSU
win.
won, so-and-so did well. Like I know the team, but.
That's fair.
Even though I will do that for MSU basketball and hockey somewhat. Yeah, and also going to maybe our answers would be different if we went to Ohio State or U of M or MSU. 'Cause
That's true.
Bowling Green, like, I'm going to follow Bowling Green. I'm not even going to lie. Like, once I graduate, but, you know. I won't even like
realistic.
I'm gonna follow them. But I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't. I'm sure a lot of people
I could see
graduate
people
from
not.
Bowling Green and then continue to like follow Ohio State for the rest of their life.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's tough. That's
just the reality.
It's a tough question. I mean, if I needed to give an exact definition,
Yeah, you have to give an answer.
shoot. I mean, I'm sitting here as my Browns are playing. The last time I checked, it was 3-3
Oh,
with
is
the
that what's
Ravens.
going on?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Honestly, I forgot that NFL was going on right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I'm
The
sitting
Lions
here,
play tonight, so
yeah, which I need Alvin Brown to play good. But if I'm sitting here right now and the Browns are playing, I don't think I could sit here right now and
guess
not
the Browns
watch Ohio
score right
State.
now.
14. No, not 14 because it can't be 14. 20-3.
20-3 who?
Obviously,
The
Baltimore.
Ravens?
Yeah.
No, it's 16-10 Browns.
Shut up. Oh my
Dead
god.
serious. Dead
Let's
serious.
go.
Who got
Let's
a
go.
touchdown?
I want to know.
Wait, did nobody score a touchdown?
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking at Rio right now. Field goal. Derrick Henry did score a touchdown.
Okay, so Derrick Henry scored.
Bush had a pick six.
Devin Bush with a pick
Devin Bush,
six.
is that
We
who it
love
is?
that. Yeah.
Fumble recovery. Okay, so a
a
bunch of field
defense.
goals and a pick six.
Hey, you know
That's
what?
how you got
If
there.
that's
You know
how we
you do
win
it.
games,
You know you do it.
we normally pick up a game against Baltimore.
Yeah.
But My point being,
I need a Harold Fannin touchdown for my fantasy team, but
that's fair.
It is what it is.
The point being, if I'm sitting here not watching the Browns game, I don't think I could do this while Ohio State's playing. So I think I have to go college, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But then
college overall?
Yes, college overall.
Oh,
because
wow.
I think I can go college football the whole fall and winter.
Yeah.
Go straight into basketball because I don't watch college basketball until it gets to March Madness.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But,
yeah, that's true.
But think about it this way. As soon as the college football season is done, I could just go and watch college basketball. But I don't do that now because...
But then what do you do from college basketball season to... There's just no sports from college basketball to college football.
I have a great summer. I have a great summer. That's what I have to do. I mean, I don't know.
You go outside and touch grass all summer? That's lame. Come on
I
now.
actually touch grass.
Yeah. That's
tough.
fair. I think I would take the pro just for the baseball and hockey stuff. Because those are my two favorite sports. And I lack too much. I mean, hockey's kind of a wash. Baseball, it has to be the
Baseball
pro.
has to be pro. That's the problem.
It's too much of a loss if I choose college. So good discussion there, Noah.
Yeah.
That was a blast. It was great to be on the show with you today.
Of course.
The Zig Zone's, kind of not the same with two people, but I think we did a solid job.
We did great.
At
I think
going
it was
over
fun.
everything, and always nice to talk about whatever's going on in Bowling Green athletics. Make sure to follow us, BG_FMSN on Twitter X, BG Falcon Media on Facebook and Instagram as well, and go to bgfalconmedia.com for previews, recaps of all BGSU athletic events, including volleyball, football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and hockey, as well as some other non-revenue sports at bgfalconmedia.com. From myself, Ben Korak, from Noah Seeley here, and from the Falcon Media Sports Network, we'll say good day, and we'll talk to you next time on WBGU 88.1 FM.